I think it's been a little too long since we did some honky tonkin' here on Weekend Wankshop, so this week let's dig into Brent Mason's awesome solo on the Brooks Dunn song, Working on My Next Broken Heart. Hey guys, and welcome to this week's installment of Weekend Wankshop. Here's your good buddy, Uncle Ben. It seems like I run into a lot of guitar players that don't know anything about Brent Mason, but anybody that knows anything about country music will tell you he's one of the baddest dudes that has ever walked the face of the earth. I always tell people that what Steve Lukather is to the rock and pop world, Brent Mason is to the country world. That guy's just been on so many songs, it's absolutely unbelievable. The solo we're going to be checking out today comes from the old Brooks Dunn song, Working on a Broken Heart. And it features a lot of the coolest stuff that makes Brent who he is. All the cool open string licks, the double stops, all the good sassy stuff. But before we start getting into it, let's hear it again at stepdad speed. And of course, for a full tab, you can visit my Instagram page. So head over to Ben Eller Guitars, give me a follow, find the tab for this week's lesson, learn how to play it, and upload a video of yourself shredding through it along with the hashtag Weekend Wankshop. Now, one thing I want to tell you before we start getting into this solo here is that if you want to make the most of it and learn the most about playing this kind of country stuff, you're going to want to look at the chord progression that's being played over too and look at how those licks interact with those chords. So the chord progression of this is really simple. It's just kind of a G, D, G, C, G, D kind of thing. But if you want to get the most out of these licks, look at what chord they're being used over, because so much country stuff is all centered around playing to the chord that's going on, in the rhythm guitar part at that time, that if you don't study these licks in terms of context, like, oh, this is what he's playing over a C chord, whatever, you'll never really get the most out of it. So be sure to learn that rhythm guitar part as well. Now, what we're going to do to start off here is to pluck that open D string with a middle finger. Then you're going to play the 3rd fret on the A string and slide it up to 5. Then do that same thing again. So open D, 3rd A sliding to 5. And then the last part here is going to go open D. Then you're going to play that 3rd A. Notice I switched to my 3rd finger here. Then play the 1st A. It's got a little quarter step bend here before you play the 3rd fret low E string resolving on G right there. So now you should have something like this. So the next thing you're going to do here is to slide into that 7th fret low E string. He's from about 5-ish right there. So in other words, you just came from hitting that 3rd fret low E from the last section. You're going to hit around 5, slide in 7, go to the 5th on the A, 7, 5, and then what he's going to do is to play that 7th fret A string and do a quick little slide to 8 and then back to 7. Pull off to 5, and then play 7, 5. So that's a lot of stuff on the A string right there. We've played this. So now you should have this. Next what we're going to play is this little lick. Now what I'm doing is I'm playing the 7 on the A, and I'm pulling off to 5, I'm sliding down to 4, and then play the 5 again on the A string. That C sharp note right there is way out of key, but it just sounds so cool because he's just there for a second before he resolves on another chord note, which is D. Now this next part right here is the only part that I find really puzzling about this, because it sounds like what he's doing here is hitting the 4th fret D and the open G at the same time, right? So I'm using my pick here to hit the D string 4, I'm using my middle finger to play the G string open, sliding into 5th, right? And then the next thing that you hear is a D note, and you hear it slide down. Now, the only way I can get this to really sound right is to play the 5th fret on the A string and slide down a little bit. But the next thing you got to play, which we've not gotten to yet, is here in the 2nd position. So it's really forced to do it that way. I end up using my second finger for the slide, and then I'll use my ring finger for that sliding down 5th fret A string note. I almost wonder if that's just a result of 2 different takes being edited together, because it's kind of impossible to make that slide sound exactly like it does on the album. So that's a little curiosity right there. But anyway, we got this. So after your 5th fret A string mystery slide down thing, you're going to play the 2 on the G, then you're going to mute the G and just kind of pluck it like that, give it a little cluck. And then you're going to play the 2 on the G string again here, sliding to 4, and then play the B string on 3rd. After this we'll get into this cool double stop thing. Now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the G and B on fret number 5 with my 3rd and 4th fingers. We're going to play those 2 notes there and give them a half step bend. And then I'm going to pull off just the G string to 3rd. Notice the little finger stayed in place. A lot of times I see people do this lick like, but if you listen really closely, you'll hear that E note sustained through the whole thing. So you got your half step bend, you got your G string pull off, play the D on 5. Then what you're going to do is to play G and B on 5, G on 3rd, B on 5, and then play the D on 5 to wrap it up. I love this next section right here. It's like you can see a little bit of Brad Paisley in that. You can see a little bit of Brent Hines from Mastodon in that. Really cool lick. Okay, so how you're going to play that there is to start off with your 1st fret low E string, hammer on to 3rd. You're going to do a downstroke on your 2nd A. And then you're going to hybrid pick your open D. So you got this pattern of like 2 downs and a hybrid. Then you're going to do essentially a C kind of shape. You're going to grab your 3rd fret A, 2nd D, open G. And then you're going to move up a little bit right here. You're going to play 5th A, 3rd D, open G. So now you have 3 licks. After this you land in kind of an F position. 3rd D, 2nd G, 1st B. And again, those are all down down hybrid. Then he does this cool series of slides. I'm starting off here on the 2 on the G, sliding up to 4, playing my 3rd fret B. Next you're going to play 4 on the G, sliding to 7, play the 6 on the B. Then what you're going to do is to play the 7 on the G, sliding to 9, play the 8th fret B. So it's just been kind of this little shape right here in a couple of different positions. Next, change to your ring finger, right? And grab the 10 on the B string, slide to 12, and then play the 10 on the high E. So this is... Then there's one last really great super trashy lick to cap it off. Now what he's doing here is he's grabbing the 14th fret high E and the 13th fret B. I'm grabbing the B with a downstroke and I'm grabbing the high E with a hybrid, so I'm kind of pinching those notes together right there. Now what he does is he hits both of those notes and bends them both up a little bit. It's not really a half step, it's not a whole step, it's just a little yank, you know, about like a quarter step or so. Both notes move a little bit. I think the B string more than the high E, but you do hear that high E come up just a touch. Next you're going to move that grip up and over a set of strings. So I'm going to be grabbing the 13th B and the 12th G. Now this time you don't want both strings to move. You want just the G to come up. That moved up about a whole step. Hold that bend up there and then pluck it again and let your bend down. That's classic country stuff right there. At the bottom of your bend release, pull off that G to fret number 10. Play the 12 on the D. Then what you're going to do is some double stop. I'm going to grab the G and B on 12, G and B on 10, hammer the G into 11. Again, that's classic stuff right there. After this, play the 12 on the D, 10 D, 12A, and then this. So I grabbed 10 and 9 on the D string and slid them up a whole step to 12 and 11, and then just go right back down to 10 and 9. So that's the entire thing. So let's kind of put it together piece by piece here, starting off with the intro licks with the little slides here. Weird licks with the impossible slide down. Double stops. Open string business. And the trashy stuff at the end. I'll do one more with just me here at the end so you can hear it extra well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's so trashy and awesome. And again, I love how Brent plays around those chord progressions so well, always targeting the important notes of the harmony he's trying to support. If you're new to Brent Mason stuff, I recommend checking out his solo album Hot Wired, particularly the title track, which is insane. And also be sure to get the new Nashville Cats by Mark O'Connor. He plays guitar on that and it is devastating. Thanks as always for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You guys can follow me on Facebook over at facebook.com/Uncle Ben Eller. You can follow my Instagram page at Ben Eller Guitars. And if you'd like to talk about booking some one-on-one Skype lessons, be sure to drop me an email, benellerguitars@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching, and remember, it's just like Carl Verheyen said, if you like it, learn it. Cheers, guys.